Welcome to Tina Tries. I have a great little episode today. I am going to be putting some unusual filaments to the test to see if they print as good as they look by making some really awesome Lord of the Rings stuff that you can make too. Are easy to print, relatively, I will get to that later, and they are super easy to assemble. All three files can be found on MakerWorld. These were printed on the H2D and an X1 carbon. All of the files, filaments, and materials to make these will be linked in the description below if you want to make your own. The first print is this really cool Gandalf book nook by Blenderhead. This prints with minimal supports. It has a slim tree support, which holds up one of his fingers, and I also used normal supports for the moths. I printed Gandalf in bamboo's marble filament, which I had never used before. I really like how this turned out, but I am not sure that I would call this marble. I get what they were going for, but it's definitely missing the characteristic veining that marble has. It kind of looks more like a granite finish, but it definitely does look like stone, and it printed really well. There are a few layer lines here and there, but it's pretty clean overall. For the moth here, I tried another new filament that I've never used before. This is Strong Hero 3D EX31 Rainbow Filament. This was not labeled as a silk, so I didn't print it on silk settings on the printer. I just used regular PLA settings, and this printed out beautifully. You can barely see the layer lines on this. The supports didn't leave much of a mark on the bottom. The color is gorgeous and the print is incredibly smooth. I have never seen such a nice silk-like print before. I am definitely going to be using this in future prints. The color is gorgeous and the print is incredibly smooth. So there is our first Gandalf book nook. But being a paint head, I had to try and give Gandalf my own stone look. So I printed him in white PLA and then I painted it. I'm gonna be using one of my really old stenciling brushes that's a bit frayed. I can do a nice stippling effect with, and after a few layers it starts to look like stone. So I'm going to tap it into my paint, tap it off a little bit, and then start stippling this on. I'm gonna go in with a lighter gray next. And there is round two. Kind of evened out the color a little bit, but still speckly. I think now I'm gonna go in with a darker gray just a little bit and add some depth. I think I'm gonna do one more step here and add some bright white to add some contrast. Here we have the finished Gandalf. I'm just gonna seal him up with some Mod Podge and then I will be done. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I also gave it kind of a granite finish and I like it in the dark gray. I also like the stone filament, but I'm a little biased. For this second moth, I also used a Strong Hero 3D filament, but this one was called Silk Candy Rainbow. It's also a PLA, but this one was labeled a silk. This one is also beautiful. It printed out fairly smooth. There are slightly bigger layer lines on this one, but it is still a beautiful print. I would have liked for it to have come out in a different color. There is a very bright pink and purple on the same reel. It just happened that the beginning of it was green. I do like how this color contrasts with the gray. I think it's a nice striking look, so I'm not complaining about the color. I just think it would be nice if maybe there was more color variation here So maybe a shorter gradient for the colors on the reels would be something manufacturers could look into in the future, but it is still gorgeous. For both of the moths, I decided to try Bamboo's support for PLA filament because I hadn't used that before. That is expensive, but it is amazing. It holds up the prints really well and it tears away incredibly easily. If you're printing miniatures or figurines with a lot of detail, I highly recommend getting that support material as it is so easy to remove. And it keeps all of the detail. I don't really have any marks on the bottom of these from where the supports were attached. And I think that I'm going to be using that on some of my figurines in the future because it was really, really convenient. So here are both of my versions of the Gandalf Book Nook. Let's take a look at both of these in action on the shelf. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments below. The second print is this really cool Hue Forge by WizArt Creation. I printed this in black, white, and red matte PLA, as well as this really cool Overture red gold silk filament. For silks, I usually slow down my printer speed and it gives it a smoother appearance, and there are virtually no layer lines visible on this. It came out amazing. I chose this particular silk because of the color changing properties. It gives it a really cool flame vibe. As you turn it, it changes colors. So it looks red in one direction and gold in the other. It just makes this piece really vibrant. So this is a dual color silk filament. And one thing to watch out for when you're using dual color filaments is twisting during printing. So this filament is red on one side and gold on the other. And if it twists during printing, it's going to create banding on your print. For example, you will get a lovely band of the opposite color on your print. This is normally due to manufacturing issues where it twists as it's being spooled, so there's not really much you can do about it. So that's just something to watch out for when you're using dual color filaments. I did use an AMS system to print this one. The file is designed to allow for swapping out colors, so don't fret if you don't have an AMS. The background of this picture is incredibly thin, so I suspect that over time this would warp if I displayed it as is. The ring does stick up about an inch off of the background, so I don't think a regular frame would work unless you remove the glass, and then it's going to collect a lot of dust and nobody wants to deal with that. So I think a shadow box that's at least an inch thick would be the way to go for this one. This is the third print. The maker calls it the Vial of Galadriel, and it is by Master Maker Creations. Finally, we have the Light of Arendelle. This one is actually a cool little lamp. Pretty sure it won't ward off any spiders, but it is still impressive. I printed the base in matte black PLA, and I added a puck light so that it can light up. It fits perfectly underneath the base. However, the base looks incomplete. I thought maybe my printer had an error and I just didn't get notified, so I printed it out a second time, which also came out looking exactly the same. So I went back to Bamboo Studio and resliced the file, and I realized that this grid pattern is actually showing on the file. So I'm not sure how the creator got the smooth top that they're showing in the picture, but it is definitely not in the STLs that are on there right now. I could be missing something. I don't know. If you've had success with this, let me know in the comments. So the stand does work. It fits the puck light perfectly. The Light of Arendelle fits perfectly in there, and when you push it down, it lights up, which is really cool. Moving on, the flask is the important part. This is printed in transparent PETG. I love the detail that the creator put into this. All of the little markings on here make it look like it's made out of crystal, which is cool because that's what it was in the movie. I printed this one using the files presets because I didn't want to lose any of the detail work on the inside of this. I was worried if I changed the infill like I normally do on the transparent PETG that it was going to lose this crystal effect, and I didn't want to do that. The decorative scroll work here around the cap is printed in silk PLA. This piece is extremely fragile, so you have to be exceptionally careful when removing the supports or removing it from your printer bed. I had several of them break on me. I don't know why I tried using normal supports on this one, but that was a really bad idea. Don't do that. The tree supports were also a bit iffy. It did work on this, but I was very worried about breaking pieces off. So be very careful when handling this piece. Even when it's finished and everything is put together, you can still break it if you touch it wrong. This is what the scroll work around the top of the Light of Arendelle is supposed to look like. I ended up using Bamboo's PVA support material for this, which is their new material that dissolves in water, and this stuff worked beautifully. It did take a couple of hours for it to dissolve fully, but it was totally worth the wait. This piece came out beautifully. All of the pieces fit together without glue, and you can change the color if you get puck light with RGB capabilities to whatever suits your mood. And this puck light is battery operated, so you don't have any power cords to worry about. May it be a light to you in dark places when all other lights go out. I am such a dork. That's gonna do it for this episode. Hopefully this inspired you to try out some really cool, interesting filaments that are out there, even if you've never tried them before. It doesn't hurt to give it a shot. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next one.